Rotterdam area, which is 30 kilometers from here. It's just for SMEs. And I found out what it is to establish one and what it needs, what it takes, and we have tremendous dreams about success and amount of bank accounts. And well, that's my adventure in this. We have a few guests tomorrow. Originally in the planning there was Becky Booth, who would be one of our guests this morning, but yesterday she unfortunately fell down and she can't make it. She went to hospital and she can't make it to the show. So apologize for that. So we have a slightly different series of guests. The concept will be I'll sit down on one of these couches and invite 1 or 2 or 3 guests, and after that we'll go in dialogue with at first the first row of this audience, people who are acknowledged as experts in one way or another, and then with you, with the audience. And at 15 minutes past 11 we're planning to stop, if that's okay with you. And our first guests, I would like to invite you, Bernard Lietaer. Would you mind sitting down, Bernard? You're living in Brussels.
Now I do.
Now you do. Yesterday you told me home is where my books are. But you've been living and working in the US for quite some time.
I lived 4 times in the US and 2 times.
Yeah, I'll hand it over to him. Do we have a second mic? Okay. And the first question I would like to pose to you is, what is it, a community currency? Why is it important if you think about the quality of life of civilians on this planet Earth, like you say? Is it on the up or is it on the decrease? Why? So those kind of questions. Would you mind answering those?
Sure. Well, look at this room. How many would have been here 10 years ago? 5 years ago? I mean, this is extraordinary. So, this room gives you the answer, frankly. Something is happening. Now, given that you ask how that relates to the crisis of 2007-2008, there's a double-edged issue there. Many people believe this is actually due to the crisis, and that's a trap. Because this movement started 40 years ago. It is, from my perspective, one of the features of a maturing information age. So when they ask me, is this going down? I say, have you noticed that the information age is going down? I haven't. No. This is a process that will be with us for centuries. We're in fact closing the industrial age, and as was very well pointed out by our brilliant actor, this whole idea of modern money started in this country, the 17th century. They also had the privilege of having the first bubble, the famous tulip bubble, and tulips are still imprinted in the Dutch psyche to this day. You have been creating in this country the modern capitalist society, and modern money was part of that. Now, I bring that up because that's now closing. The information age is going to be with us for centuries. Nobody knows where it's going. I certainly don't know. But money is fundamentally an information system. That's its function. So when people think that in the information age everything will change except money, which a number of books are actually implicitly some of the best books on the information age, talk about everything changing, and they never mention money. Okay, find it fascinating. I compare that with having at the beginning of the industrial age saying everything will change except horses. You know, I mean, horses are horses, right? Okay, I mean, horses don't change. So, so that's where we are. And I see we're just actually beginning this. I would compare the knowledge level of the complementary currency field to the Wright brothers aeronautics. First thing, it's a miracle that that thing flew.
Yes.
They had no clue why it flew, frankly, or why it failed. But flying was possible. That's the message. Now, let's start learning why things work and why don't work, and how to improve them so that they adapt to the needs of this planet. And what I'm pretty sure of, there is consensus now, that in the next couple of decades, we're going to need a hell of a lot of innovation and change in this planet. It's already clear that we have painted ourselves in a corner, particularly Western civilization, by the way, precisely the same civilization that invented the industrial age. And money is part of that. So what we're doing is actually creating the new tools to manage the challenges of the 21st century. And we're just beginning.
So how come then that agriculture has been point of deep debates during the last 30, 40 years already? Energy transition is quite a headache, has been for quite some time now, for some decades. And only until recently, money wasn't part of that discussion as a cross-cutter through all these others. How come? Was it a blind spot for everyone? Why this horse phenomena?
It is more than a blind spot, it's a taboo.
Taboo, you say.
The money system is our collective taboo. It's the last taboo. Our society has three major taboos: sex, death, and money. And they're all related to the same archetype called the Great Mother. This relates to the changeover to a new balance between masculine and feminine energy, which we desperately need. If we don't manage that transition, our species will die on this planet, taking the bulk of the ecosystem with it, which is what we're in the process of doing. So everything that we are now facing as problems are actually the shadow parts of the industrial age. Our money system is considered neutral, our official money system. All economists assume that implicitly. We all know here that it's not the case. However, the program that's built in, what it pushes, for example, short-term thinking, what it lacks, for example, relationship issues, all the things that were pointed out in our little show 5 minutes ago. These are the remnants, the imprint of sorry, thank you. The imprint of the things that the money pushes and what the money system forgets. So that's the issues that we're dealing with are the leftovers.
So you say, okay, it's inevitable that we go this path we're going now, that this diversity comes up, can't be pushed back anymore. It's not a sign of the times. It's a necessity we have to go through to stay ahead, stay upright as a species, or to get to the next culture phase, or how would you?
Let me put it this way: in China, in the 19th century, decided that the industrialization process was a barbarous thing. Mm-hmm. In the 18th century still, I would say China was the most developed country on the planet. They decided that steel mills and railroads are really very crude and very ugly and totally barbarian. From their perspective, that was true. They became the developing country, the largest developing country of the 20th century. There will be countries, and one of my concerns is that Europe is part of it. The countries that have pushed the best way our industrial age are now precisely those that will hold on to the old models.
They're in a lock-in, you say?
We're locked in.
Okay.
And our regulations and our laws and all the enforcement systems are really more sophisticated than other places. Good. That may hold us back.
Okay.
So we could become the developing country of the 21st century if we don't use these tools.
Yes. Well, let it be a warning signal to us then. When it comes to the theme of the day, policy making on the one hand, community or complementary currencies as you prefer on the other hand. Why would that be a perfect mix, you think?
The conventional system destroys community.
Okay.
It is one of the automatic processes. Once you replace a relationship, even within a family, we have seen worldwide the families shrink from clans of 50, 70, 80 people. There's still a couple of left in southern Italy or in Brazil. But basically, in the last 200 years, that was the family. And now it's basically the majority of kids in America live in a one-parent family. We have seen a systematic shrinking. And we're not aware that this relates to money. Once granddaddy has to pay for rent in your home, the family is gone. And by the way, once you pay your kid to cut the grass, you're undermining it.
And are you saying that communities is a necessity for the future to survive?
Humans are community beings. We cannot survive. We have never survived without it.
And finance and monetary systems yet are not, the mainstream systems are not able to connect with that?
No, they replace relationships with a neutral commercial transaction. Once you pay, once you've bought something, there is no relationship established.
And what's
it's complete.
What's blocked by that mechanism then?
What do you mean?
Okay, the financial system does not support community.
Conventional money does not support community building.
And cohesion.
No. It actually destroys it.
And why is it for the future so important, apart from people like to be in communities?
Well, the kind of adaptation to the new circumstances of the 21st century, the climate change issue, the aging problems, unemployment on a systemic level, things that have always been part of the modern system, by the way, but now visit us. Okay, that's what's new for us, but it has been part of it. These things can be solved with complementary currencies.
Okay, then now it's time to get to an example, perhaps.
Yes.
Yes. Edgar Kampers, where are you? Edgar. Edgar is one of the organizers. He owns Qoin, samen met Rob van Hilten. Edgar, the story of this story was quite general. Okay, it might be a necessity to get through this phase and go through this diversity, and in the end there will be a better match between the new financial order being built up now and society and what society needs. You work with examples. You establish new coins, new currencies. Could you tell a bit about your work?
No, I really think that the best way to understand what we are doing is giving the example and make sure that others are understanding it, and also understand that it's quite easy to start one. It's difficult to get it really running and to be successful, but starting is very easy, and we should have much more people doing something like this. So we have several currencies that we support, and I think I'd like to give a double example. Example number one is We Helpen, which is a nationwide time credit system.
Could you translate that? We Helpen?
Yeah, We Helpen, if I translate it into English, would be We Help. It's only in Dutch currently, so there's no translation there, so you have to use a translation program to be able to understand what it is. It's nationwide, which basically means that you can be anywhere in the Netherlands, you can make an account. This is very easy. You click on Facebook and boom, you're there. It's very easy. And on that moment, you get credits if you start to become active on the platform, for making a profile, for uploading a picture, for having your first demand or request, for example. So you can earn credits, and then you can start to spend them to the other members in the community. Now, because we know that a time credit system will not be very functional if people are spread out all over the country, we started to build communities within this platform. And one of the communities that we're very much connected to is the Makkie in Amsterdam. And the Makkie will translate as something, it's easy. It's a kind of Amsterdam slang. In the Makkie in Amsterdam East is built up in one of the more difficult neighborhoods of the city of Amsterdam, the Indische Buurt. And together with the municipality, 3 housing associations, care organizations, welfare organizations, and a school. The school is not yet there, but it will come very fast. We build up a consortium which is rewarding people in that neighborhood for civic action. Basically for things like reading Dutch books together with children so they get more learning, language learning. Together with the municipality we clean the park because the park is not very nice and nobody owns the park, but if we have community members starting to clean it, then this changes. Organizing a neighborhood barbecue, for example, or even cleaning parts of the common space within public houses, because this is done by the housing associations once a month, and that's not enough in reality. So it's these type of actions which are rewarded by these professional organizations. People also get points if they make the profile, etc., etc. Then they start to spend it into circulation to each other. So I would typically use it for babysitting or painting my kitchen or get some help with tax reporting. Can be very, very diverse. And some people will earn much more than they are able to spend within the community. These people are able to go then to redemption partners. This is, for example, a language course, so you train your French if this is the thing you like to do. Or you get a course in stopping smoking. Or you can go to, for example, you can rent space or whatever. It's quite a long list. And in the case of the Makkie, this is including a supermarket, the largest supermarket of the Netherlands, where you get a discount if you buy something. And it's also including a lot of the touristic type of things we have in Amsterdam, like, for example, Artis or the Jaap Edebaan, which is the skate hall. So systems like this, in the Netherlands, we started with it around a year ago. We have a quite good year as a first year. We see that the membership grows both offline and online. It's paper money both, and it's also an internet currency. We also see that it's quite difficult to reach the things that we like to reach. So we are just in the middle of the struggle. So right, the dynamics are right, the system is there, the building blocks are in place, people start to use it, but then how do we continue? How do we bring up the speed there? That's the biggest challenge that we have currently.
Okay, thank you. And as far as I can see, those are two examples, wehelpen.nl and the Makkie, which are quite social in essence, right? You guys tend to make a division between social currencies, socially oriented currencies and economic currencies, right? Am I right?
And green currencies.
And green currencies, thank you for that.